This is Cassidy with the Tabletop Ticker here. I have Kristen Mott with me today, and I'm super excited we get to have a little chat about what she does for a living, which I think is going to be exciting and interesting to you. And so I just wanted to kick off. Kristen, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and then I have a very like intro question for you, which is, what is the wildest thing that's ever happened to you or for you because of board games?
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm Kristen Mott. I'm a board game designer. Um, I've been doing it for I think about 6-ish years now. I originally started because I was homeschooling all three of my kids, and I started making games for them for our homeschool for some enrichment stuff, and just got really into it. And my husband and I started playing games, and it just like one thing led to another, and it was just all games all the time, and that was pretty much it.
Nice.
um, as far as the wildest thing, I thought a lot about this question, and I would say that really board what happened to me, for me or to me because of board games was really more of an identity thing.
Mm,
Because before I really got into designing and playing games, I was like homeschool mom all the time. And so board games and designing in particular really like gave me this thing that was my own, and it was didn't have anything to do with anybody else, and it was this, even though I was making games for my kids, it was a thing that I was doing on my own for myself. And it really just gave me this my identity back, I guess,
yeah.
as a human instead of just being mom all the time. And so it really has just made me a happier person all around. Happier mom, happier person. Like it's
I love that. Here I was thinking, oh, she's gonna tell us some story about like someone spilling coffee on the table and like it causing a cat to freak out and the windows broke and something like that. But like
oh
that's genuinely, truly like the coolest answer. I love
oh
that because I share a similar story, but for solo board gaming, where I was able to center myself and find a certain sort of focus and a new identity that I had been searching for. And
hmm
like, it sounds funny that board games and that experience, especially for you as a designer, though, like, definitely is different than me as a player, but it's fun what we find out about ourselves through the process.
Right, and I've learned a lot about myself through the process, like, just having this creative outlet that I felt like I have always kind of needed and never had discovered
Yeah.
what was mine before, and also discovering little things like I'm a lot better at math than I thought I was. In school, I was always in remedial math, and, like, I was not
Yeah.
good at it, and, I was just sort of told, like, I'm not a math person." But board games is like, "No, I don't know, I'm not great, but I'm better at it than I thought I was."
Oh gosh, and that's what counts too. So, okay, I want to come back to the math thing because I have a math issue myself, and I think that there's something really empowering, especially with things like math and science and reading and things like that, when we find out that we're actually better at those than we realize. Like
Yeah.
that is super empowering because, well, lots of reasons. I'm sure a lot of people identify with that.
Yeah, it is super empowering. Like, oh, you mean I could have been using these skills in other parts of my life, my entire life, and
Yeah.
I didn't even try because I thought I wasn't good at it. And then sort of math being a necessity in game design, it's like, oh yeah,
Right.
actually, I I'm a little better than I thought I was, or I was told that I was.
I think that's the part that counts is the that you were told that you were. That's the part that gets in your head, right? So,
Oh yeah,
well,
for
I
sure.
wanted to start out not with the coolest answer ever, though. I appreciate that. That's a way better
Sure.
intro than the lightning round of questions I had planned. Are you still up to do a quick lightning, like super
Oh
quick
yeah,
answers? Okay.
whatever you
We
want is
we'll
totally
come back
fine.
to a therapy session about my math insufficiencies later.
Okay.
So, no, but I have 5 questions I'm gonna ask you really quick. Just
Okay.
First answer off the top of your head, okay?
Okay.
All right, first one is favorite game you didn't design.
Barren Park.
Oh, good one. Good one. Okay, next one I'll judge you on. Coffee or tea during crunch time?
Tea. I do not like coffee.
Actually, who am I to talk? I drink Red Bull. So, okay. How about this one? Most play tested prototype you've ever made or that you've, ever had
Most
to.
play tested.
Hmm.
Oh. Um, I would say I'm trying to go through things in my
Hmm.
head. There is a game, okay, I have my answer, that I am working on currently. It's been signed and it's in development and it's coming to Kickstarter next year. It's a game that Adrian Adamescu and I have been working on, and we have been working on it for, I think, 3.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so it's gone through so many iterations and so like it is absolutely the best version of itself now. And we're still like playtesting and fine tuning some development stuff, but it has gone through a lot of different iterations and so many just changes to make it the best that it can be. And so I would say as far as a time frame, that one has been
Yeah.
played the most and the longest of everything.
Okay. Will you be able, this is not the next question, but this is a
Sure.
question. Will you be able to tell us a little bit more about that one later or not?
I can't say anything else
Okay.
yet.
Okay. Fair.
In a couple of months, I
Fair.
think you can ask me about it.
Okay, well then, can I get you back on in a couple of months and then we'll have a party over it? Okay, good.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Next one is one booth at Gen Con you always make time to visit.
Probably AG. I
Okay.
always just I don't know, I love their stuff, so I always end up there at some point, just to check it out.
That's a good pick, though. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And the last one is what is one game on your I can't wait to play this at Gen Con list?
Oh,
If
I
you even have time. I don't know if you'll have time.
uh, I had, like, a whole list of games actually that I was looking for. Actually, do you mind if I pull up my list? Because I think
Yeah.
I had written a couple of them down. Um,
I'm getting comfortable.
so, um, I wanted to check out Friendly Fishing from Gamehead.
Mhm.
I have not played it. Talico from I think it's from Pandasaurus. Is
Yes,
that the
with
one with the
2
sliding?
Ks? Is that the one with
Yes.
okay, yes.
Yeah, and sandcastles, from Pandasaurus too. It's a
Okay,
like a little tile placement game,
okay.
that I love stuff like that, so check that out. Um, Tatsumi, which I think is from Adam's Apple.
That's on my list too.
I saw a version of it at Gamma this year, and so I wanted to check that one out too. And Kokeshi?
Oh,
Which I
yeah.
actually did get to play at Geekway, so I'm probably gonna buy a copy if I can at Gen Con. Um, but yeah, that's, like, my short list of things to check out.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a good one. That was a little sneak peek that it was a little special sneak peek, so
Yeah.
okay, so speaking of Gen Con, because I threw
Mhm.
that in there because you and I will be there pretty soon. It's coming up pretty fast.
Yep.
And I know what it's like to attend. Well, I did last year. It was my first con ever, right? You and I think, talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, first con ever. I know what it's like to attend Gen Con as like a board game enthusiast, but what is it like for you as a board game designer? So that's my first question is what does the week leading up to Gen Con look like for you?
So the week leading up to it is usually crunch time
Yeah.
because I've got, meetings or whatever I have scheduled for the week of Gen Con. Now I have to prep for them. Like I have to make sure that I have all of my sell sheets prepped and ready to go. I make sure, which I actually just hold please.
Yeah.
I have exhibits now. So I just put this together a couple of days ago, which I've never done before. I just have like this binder with the clear pages for all my cell sheets and like rule sets and stuff. So just
Nice.
in case if I run into somebody who's looking for something, like I can just sort of pull this out and quickly go through what I have available, and then, if they wanna schedule a playtest later or see something more in
Mhm.
depth, we can do that. So it's sell sheets, and then I also make physical prototypes of all my games that are, ready to pitch. And that takes more time than you would think to,
Yeah.
like, print and cut and sleeve cards and do all the things to make sometimes I have multiple prototypes, but most of the time it's just one per game. But I also make sure that all my games are uploaded on Tabletop Simulator so that, like, if somebody wants to play it after the con, it's
Oh, yeah.
ready and available to do that. Um, so a lot of it is just that kind of boring prep work, I guess.
It's a
Make
lot of
sure everything's ready
attention.
to go.
Yeah, it's a lot of attention to detail, though.
Yeah.
So a lot goes into that. So, then I have a two-part question for you then is, when you get to Gen Con, what is the most challenging part of it and what is the most fun part of it for you?
The most fun part of any convention is, like, being able to see friends and play games with them, although Gen Con is actually the worst convention for that
Yeah.
because everybody's so far apart. It's difficult to find people, to, like, actually meet up and play games because everything is all over the convention center. But that is always sort of my favorite part. Um the most stressful part is making sure that I get places on time, like whether it's
Yeah.
a meeting and also like being prepared for that meeting. If it's sort of a really formal meeting with a company that I've never met before, that I usually have a lot of anxiety around that and like making sure everything's kind of perfect and ready to go and that I don't sound dumb when I'm presenting my games to them. Um so that is the most stressful part, especially like that and then getting places on time because everything is so far apart, so far away from each other.
It really is. Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you, where people could find you at Gen Con, but given that it sounds like you're gonna be kind of in a bunch of different places, all the places all at once.
All the places all at once. So it's a little different for me this year because I'm working part-time. I'm running the demos for Love More games.
Mm,
So I will be out, on Lucas Oil Stadium on the field. I have my exact schedule if anybody wants it. Like I'm running all of the sit down events for Jewel Box and Stable Times. So I'm like doing all of those playthroughs. I'll be at the stadium Thursday afternoon and Friday afternoon and then Saturday morning. And I'll probably just be there and like hanging out for a while too. And that's where like if you wanted to purchase Stable Times, it's going to be there. Out on the field. It's sort of gonna be I don't even know how to describe it. There's gonna be a bunch of publishers there, like, sort of running demos and doing sales and things on the field, um,
yeah.
and instead of being in the, um, vendor hall. So, yeah.
As I take a giant sip of my Red Bull, I was looking up here because I have stable times on my shelf.
Aw.
And I was thinking, I was like, I need to reach for that and have a visual. I'll
Oh,
maybe I have the skill to pop it in right here. Probably not.
it's
But
alright. I got it behind me if you want me to grab it.
show us stable times because that's the one. Yeah.
So this my horse game, this'll be,
Nice.
yeah, for sale out on the field.
I just said
Uh,
hi to your game. Like I would say hi to my dog. Hi.
it's so
So
lovely.
it's so cute. Oh, it's really pretty though, really and truly.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
They did a great job on the
Um,
art.
okay, so I'm getting stressed thinking about Gen Con and talking about it because I'm not ready to go yet.
Oh,
So, I'm gonna switch gears away from Gen Con really
okay.
fast then. Um, about your games, like Stable Times, for example.
Sure.
I know what are some of your other games that are already out? Some of the things that you could talk about, just like I know that people, hey, this is your action call to action to go
Call to action.
look up Kristen and go follow her and do all the
Sure.
things and look at her games. But what are some other things that are out there besides stable times?
So, Insectarium, this one right here.
Nice.
I think it's with Snowbright Studios, and I think that it's gonna be there at Gen Con. It's been there the last 2 years, so I think they'll have it for sale there, I'm not entirely sure. So there's that one, and then there is oh, yeah, Garden Club and then Pedal from Chris Couch Games, which I'm gonna be at his booth, Friday at 11,
Nice.
just hanging out.
I may come by because I have not met Chris, and that is on my list of places to stop by to introduce myself and say hi. Because apparently Chris is
Yeah.
just a really cool dude. So
He's awesome. He is such a hardworking publisher and member of this
really,
community, and he is putting out some awesome stuff. Uh, Not just my games, like, he's got an awesome lineup of stuff that's
yeah.
coming. But yeah, I'll be there Friday at 11, for a little while. He'll have Garden Club, demo copy, but he may have some copies of Pedal for sale. I'm not sure, like,
Okay. Yeah, we're not going to
um,
promise anything, but
but they may be there. Um, and then I don't know. So my Moana game, the came out like it's not quite out. The hobby release hasn't happened yet, but like it's been announced and everything, so I can
yeah.
talk about it. I don't know if it's gonna be there. I hope so. But we'll see if it's there.
Well, I want to ask you about that. I'm going to come back to that one. Okay, so
Okay.
put a pin in that one for a minute, but don't forget about it. Because I did want to talk to you. You have this knack for kind of bringing these real world, like Moana withstanding, because I mean, she is like a real world. Isn't Moana based on like a whole like
It,
historical, like,
yeah, Moana and Maui, I believe they're based on like actual Polynesian lore, or at least Maui is.
yeah,
But I mean, it is a story that Disney created.
yeah.
Um, but
But
yeah.
I mean, for me though, like thinking of stable times, for example, like or insects and gardens and things that you kind of have this knack to bring those things to life in a really like kind of
There's a
approachable
bug.
family game. Ugh, I
Sorry.
have Rosie. No, 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 no. I have Rosie running around underneath my feet, so
Oh.
I'm kicking her right now as you're
Oh,
swatting
okay,
bugs.
I'm like
This is peak content,
eh,
so I love it.
it's real
Um,
life.
yeah, no, okay, real life. That was my question. What
Oh,
draws you to those subjects? They're real life things.
mhm.
But how do you take something like that and like make it interesting enough to become a game? And so like when do you feel like you have a cool enough idea to make it into a game?
Sure. Okay. So I think the best way to answer that is like when I first started making games, like I said at the beginning, I was making games for my kids more for
Yeah.
like homeschool type enrichment stuff. And I wanted to make games that I thought they would want to play. And so that's where I started. And out of that came actually this game here. So this is called Clownfish Cove. It's like a preschool cooperative game that I made for my 4-year-old, like way back when, um, because I thought that she would want to play it.
Mm.
And then I got into my kids were all super into dinosaurs. So that's where the idea for dinosaur exhibit came from. And we went to the museum a lot and always like saw the dinosaur exhibit. That was sort of the first thing that we would go and see at our children's museum. And so I was like, well, I'll just make a game about that. And having that real world basis for the game really helped me in the beginning of my design process because I felt like I could sort of pull from what would actually happen and sort of make the mechanics of the game mesh with that instead of sort of just making things up that may or may not that might have made sense in my mind but not in
Sure.
other people's minds.
Yeah.
And so that's how things sort of got started for me. So it was the dinosaurs, and then my kids were super into sharks, so I made a shark game. And then shortly after sharks, I started working on, and there were like tons of designs in between all of this too,
Yeah.
that didn't go anywhere, make it at all. I started working on Prowl, the tiger game, because I really liked the idea of my shark game where I was focusing on just a single species. And I thought, well, how can I sort of make a game that just revolves around a single species and what they would do. There's
Mhm.
plenty of zoo games or games that involve multiple types of animals and all of that. So I just wanted to focus on one. So that's how Prowl sort of came to be. It was like, well, what would a tiger do? It would hunt in a territory and it would try to take over territories from other tigers and challenge them for the spaces. So that's what Prowl became.
Yeah,
Um, and so as far as knowing a when an idea is ready to be a game, like, that sort of has to go through a process, at least for me anyway. I don't know right away that it's gonna be worth it to pursue.
yeah,
I've gotten better at that over the years, like, the longer that I've been designing, I will know quicker if it's gonna be anything, if it's worth it or not.
sure,
So I'm much more, um now I can, like, give up on something pretty easily if I'm like, it's not gonna go anywhere, it's not gonna be any good. I'll just put it away, or I'll just delete it from my computer um, and then start working on something else that could potentially be better so I don't sort of waste the time on that
sure.
if it's not gonna go anywhere. Um,
That makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense a lot. I think, you know, I'm sure you surprise yourself at some point or may in the future by pulling one of those out and being like, "Oh, I actually have a way that I can make this into something cool," like, and
Yeah.
rework it and workshop it and figure out a way to bring that back to life.
Yeah, I do have a fun, I guess, a little story about that. So I had worked on a game about cacti, uh, for a couple of years ago, maybe it was like 2 years ago, and I thought I had this awesome idea. I'm just gonna make these cards, and we're gonna have, like, cactus arms and trunks and all this stuff, and it's gonna be great. And it was terrible, and I had already made all the cards and everything, and so, like, maybe someday I'll come back to it. I put it away in a baggie in this bin that sits under my desk. I call it my graveyard of prototypes. And, uh and then probably a year later, I started thinking about it again. Like, I bet that could be something cool. And I pulled it back out and I started working on it for just a couple of weeks. And I ended up showing it to Lovemore Games, actually,
Mm,
because I was showing them some other stuff, and Zach was like, "Well, do you have anything else, that you can show me?" So I showed him it, and he really liked it, even though it was not anywhere close to being done yet.
sure.
And so that became, the next game that I'm gonna have with them.
Oh,
And
fun.
so, yeah, it's
That's
I
the
know.
inside track on the cacti game.
Yep.
So, oh, I love that. I love that you also know that you should call it cacti. So,
Oh, see, I live in Indiana, and so I am nowhere near cacti, but they fascinate me, especially the big saguaro cacti with the huge
yeah,
arms. Like, that's what the game is based on. And so,
yeah.
yeah.
I lived in Arizona forever for what, 8, 10 years, 8
Oh,
years.
wow.
And I love cacti or cactuses.
I
How many
know.
times can you say cacti in a recording, I guess? I don't
I
know. I have 2 last questions for you.
okay.
Number 1, you mentioned the Moana game, so you've got that in the works. Um, if you can tell us a little bit about kind of that game, that would be awesome. Yeah, I know
Sure.
you said a little bit earlier, but is there anything that you're just obsessed about that you're excited to tell us about with Moana?
I mean, I've I'm super proud of the game itself. It was kind of a long journey, just with the process of, like, making and developing that game. Like, it took a long time from showing the publisher to it actually becoming what it is. But I am a huge Disney nerd. I love Disney parks history. I love pretty much all the movies. And Moana was always, I mean, I know the movie itself is only like 10 years old, but I have always loved that story. It always sort of stuck with me, mostly because I felt like, and I don't know if this is true, but it felt like one of the first Disney movies where the main female protagonist, there was no love story.
Hmm,
Like, it was just about her accomplishing this thing that she needed to do and doing it, whether she got the help or not. And I loved that. And so it just was always sort of a special story to me. And then the game itself, once it was signed with the publisher, went through a couple of different IPs before it landed on Moana. And so when that happened, was just thrilled because I just had always loved the story so much. And so the game itself, the storyline of the game is that it's supposed to take place after the events of the first movie. So you
Mhm.
are playing as a character, you're collecting these shells from different beaches on different islands, different shells and different treasures. Like there's two sets of tiles, and you're trying to place them on your tapestry in the best way that you can to, continue to have um, good fortune, I guess, with your
Mhm.
islands. And so I don't know. I loved it so much, and it did have to go through a few iterations. So they wanted it to be a fairly simple game because it's for ages 7 and up. Something
Mhm.
that would appeal to definitely children and a younger audience. So it does definitely have that feel, but I think there is enough there that gamers will stay engaged. So I'm
Yeah.
really proud of that part of the design too.
Good
Uh,
for you. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a really cool story. And honestly, that's how I feel about most of the games of yours that I've played is like
Ooh.
they're but no, they're great games. They're approachable. They like a younger audience can play them, but they're engaging enough for like someone like me who,
Mhm.
wouldn't normally otherwise play like a family game in some cases that like I enjoy those. So
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
nah.
That's sort of been like what I have tried to do since the beginning is like make games that would take kids seriously, but um, you know, that parents would enjoy playing with their kids too. And the more that I've designed, like some of my games are starting to get heavier and
Sure, yeah.
they're not um family weight anymore, but
Yeah.
that's where things started.
Do you wanna know, I I would totally disappear again. I have Drakelings over here, and I remember
Oh,
you teaching that game, and I had to shoot you a message because I lost the instruction booklet, and
oh, yeah.
yes. So I think actually of all the games I've played of yours, Drakelings might be my favorite.
Oh,
So,
really?
I think
Awesome.
so. So,
Oh.
that's fine. Okay, so for you, when
Mhm.
you're not designing games, what kind of games do you like to play? That's the first part of my two-part question. I love a good two-part question.
Okay.
So, is there a mechanism, a designer, or a recent release that has inspired you or reminded you why you love this hobby recently?
Ooh,
Of
okay.
the things that you play outside of your own
Mhm.
games.
Okay. Part 1. So,
Yeah.
my favorite games to play, I love tile placement. That
Yeah.
is, like, my first love of board games. What I actually end up playing a lot of is, like, when I play games with my husband, he likes to play heavier stuff, so a lot of times I end up playing like, he loves Scythe and Expeditions and,
Mhm.
games like that. So we end up playing things like that. But when I also love a good solo mode. So
Yeah.
a lot of times when I have time, whenever that is, but I I try to make time to play a solo mode for like a medium light game, tile placement,
Yeah.
card drafting, a multi-use card kind of thing, building something out. I love like building something and having
Mhm.
something complete when I'm done. Um, and so I tend to gravitate towards games like that. Um, and so a lot of times I have to be kind of careful with the games that I decide to learn and teach him
Oh,
because
yeah.
like he really wants to play bigger, heavier games with me.
Sure.
Um, so sometimes I just save the lighter tile placement ones for
Tile
myself,
placement is
and
for
then I
you.
I play them solo.
What's the
Um,
one have you played Kohaku? Kohaku? How do you
I don't
say it?
think
It's a koi
so.
pond? Oh,
Oh,
Kristen.
no, I haven't.
I will have to Meeple Mike gave this to me. We'll have to play it sometime. I think
Okay,
you would like
yes.
it. It's solo, you can play it solo, and it's tile placement, it's medium light, it is Nice, it's a great game. Anyway, keep going. I interrupted you
Sure.
with my
No.
excitement over the fact that we like the same games.
I love those kinda games, so anytime I can play it, let's play it.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and as far as, like, the inspiration, so I do play a lot of, Phil Walker Harding games.
Mm,
I absolutely love his stuff, and I like it because I feel like all of his games are, like, distilled down into, like, the core mechanic of whatever it is, and it is still fun, and there is still so many decisions and so many choices and tension,
yeah,
um, in his designs, but it's like it's all simplified. We played, Llama Land a couple of weeks ago for the first time,
love
and
that.
I was just like you can tell that his fingerprints have, like, been on all of his designs because they just have that feel of, distillation, but
Mhm.
just there's still so much going on, and so, uh, yeah, and I'll just throw it out there too, like, I would love to make a game with him if that, you know, was ever
Hey,
to happen in the universe, um,
you're
but
speaking it into existence right now.
yeah.
Phil, are you listening?
Yeah. But, he and I've listened to a lot of his interviews, like, he seems like such a genuinely nice person too, and, but playing his games really inspire me to, like, try and do that in my own designs is
Yeah.
distill things down to the simplest form that they can be, but still have that tension and just decision making.
Yeah, totally. The tension is the hardest part to me sometimes when it goes through different iterations. When
Mhm.
you're like, from doing whatever playtesting I've done of other people's games, like it's always like when I've seen a version one to a version two to a version three, and then trying to find that balance of making the right changes to it, but
Mm,
still keeping the tension that makes it a great game is
yeah.
like it always seems like that's a huge challenge.
Yeah, it is, and, like, thinking about how if your game has multiple systems in it, like, if you make a change to one system, like, well, how's
Yeah,
that gonna affect this or this, you know? And so a lot of times when you iterate, you at least for me, I try not to change too much too quickly because then it can just sort of derail
yeah,
itself, and you don't intend for that to happen. But yeah, you're
sure.
right, that is absolutely one of the hardest parts.
Uh, okay, I've kept you on here forever. I don't want to keep you on for real
Uh,
forever,
I'm
but
happy to be here.
yeah, no, I'm so grateful that you just agreed to kind of sit down and have a chit chat today.
Sure.
I think so we are kind of out of time, but I wanted to ask you if you had any kind of like parting words for us, or if you could just share how people can find you on the interwebs.
Sure. So I'm most active on Instagram. My handle is at kristenmott.boardgaming.
Okay,
And there's the orange horse on
look for
it's my
that.
logo. So you'll see that. I'm also on Facebook. I'm not quite as active on Facebook, mostly Instagram. That's where I post about games that I'm playing and designing and where I'm going to be and um, where you can find me in real life, I guess. And, yeah, parting words, I'm super excited about Gen Con. I know it's
Yeah.
gonna be wild and crazy and not enough sleep will be had, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'll see you probably in passing in the hallway, be like,
Yeah.
Kristen, see you later.
Uh,
But that's how that goes at Gen Con, I guess.
yeah,
But anyway,
absolutely.
well, thanks again. I will see you soon. I'm going to, for everybody out there, I will have this up, and well, it's up because you're watching it right now. But you'll probably, hopefully, watching this before Gen Con so that you can plan ahead and plan accordingly to see all the games that we've talked about today, and that will be super exciting. I hope that everyone has a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.